So it's come to my attention that even though I gave a very simplified definition, I didn't necessarily elaborate and explain what was actually taking place. So for this project that I'm brought on, pretty much the easiest thing I can say is that they need a system to get contracts signed, right? And last year they were using DocuSign, but specifically PowerForm. DocuSign has something called PowerForm, which allows you to kind of create a template, and you send out the template link to all the people that you want to sign. And when I say all the people you want to sign, let's say you have 2,000 people that needs to sign. And so that template, once each person clicks it, it makes a document for that individual to sign the document, right? However, the issue that they had last year with this is the fact that they did not have any type of workflow kind of set for this to be more automated. And so a lot of people didn't sign. A lot of people slipped through the cracks. It was hard getting people to even find the initial email with the template link in it. And it was just this project last year was about 5 weeks long, and with no systems in place, a whole bunch of manual labor, and they only were able to get 78% signed for the entire thing. Now, once the big dog came in, I started to ask a lot of questions about okay, what platform are you using? And, do you have a database where all these people that need to sign already live? They do. That database is Salesforce. So then now I'm like, okay, well, we need Salesforce to talk to DocuSign, right? And we need DocuSign to talk to Salesforce, because what I wanted to set up is where I was trying to find out if there was a way where in Salesforce where you can push a button and it automatically mass sends the contracts out to all these people that need to sign. And then, so that means Salesforce talks to DocuSign, and then DocuSign also then talks back to Salesforce after the person signs it and kind of updates Salesforce with a checked box or something that says, hey, this is updated, right? So that's one part. The other thing is it's a lot of contracts. So then I wanted to know, do we have DocuSign set up with some type of software, i.e. we use SharePoint, Microsoft. So can we set up a folder in SharePoint so that now all these signed contracts can automatically go into SharePoint without us having to manually export it over there? So now when we get to the topic of broken APIs, they didn't realize that's something that in their brains, when they brought me on, that wasn't a thought of theirs. That was not a thought of theirs. They were like, well, we see on her resume she has Salesforce experience and she has worked a lot of tech projects, and I'm sure she can help us figure out what to do. And so when I came in, I'm asking questions. I was meeting with different people that were here, last year when they did it. I was looking through the notes of someone that they had on their team kind of work through this. And I also want to point out that this company is very old, and they do things very old, very manual. And so at the same time that they're doing this project, they're also implementing Salesforce. Nobody in the team has tech experience. They don't even know how to do this. The supervisor, she was just on YouTube University and deep diving in Reddit to get ideas. And so they're doing a Salesforce implementation that's very janky, right? And so they don't even understand the technology behind it, which is why their brains wasn't thinking about how to optimize and create workflows. So when we talk about broken APIs, as you can see from what I'm saying, the brokenness comes from the fact that the DocuSign and the Salesforce, they were not talking to each other. How do we get them to talk? And then the DocuSign and SharePoint, they're not talking to each other. How do we get them to talk to each other? Now, I know because I've been working in Salesforce, and I've actually been doing their Salesforce administrator course. So I've been kind of working through Trailhead, that that it's not a quick fix. It's something that like a developer or someone with way more technical expertise would have to build out that Salesforce workflow, right? So I met with someone who they contract out with to find out that we don't have enough time to build any of that. So since we don't have enough time to build any of that, I'm like, okay, well, is there any other type of connection that can be done? And when I say build any of that, build that connection from Salesforce to DocuSign. We have a connection, but the connection for this specific part needs its own build in process, right? Its own coding and stuff like that. So we weren't able to do that, but we were able to, what were we able to do with that? I need to go back, but we never did anything with that, but I guess I identified that issue. Then on the Salesforce, and not the Salesforce, then on the DocuSign SharePoint side of things, all I did was go to the settings and click connection, right? Click connection. The connection, like when you can integrate apps, like make apps like work with each other and stuff. I'm like, okay, can I connect this to SharePoint? Connected to SharePoint. Cool. Only to find out SharePoint licenses are expired. Whole company function, nobody knows licenses are expired. I'm new to this. I'm new here. So is nobody not using SharePoint? What's really going on? Right? Nobody even know when the license expired. So now that's a whole thing. And so when she says like fix 2 broken APIs, it's more so like I was able to identify like what the issues were and how we can fix it. And so now that the main part of this project is done, like my part, now I'm kind of helping them identify like, okay, so if you guys keep me, here are the projects that we're going to have to work on. We're going to have to work on creating this connection between Salesforce and DocuSign for these other type of contracts, or you will be doing a lot of manual work. Okay, and you're going to lose money from doing manual work. And then also after you get the license, right? Because just because now we have the license, that doesn't mean the actual like mapping is correct. So then now that's work to make sure that the DocuSign and SharePoint stuff works the way that we want it to. So, and then there's also backtracking, because remember, we don't know when the license broke. And so y'all could have ran some projects before I even came under the impression that you think that something was working and it wasn't. So that's somebody's job to go back and fix. And so this got very nerdy and very in-depth, but all to say, all I did was push a little button that said connection, and then we were there. Now in other companies, there's like other type of API connections, maybe bigger, deeper, more intense, enterprise-wide workflows and stuff that need to take place. So at least now I know that, okay, if they're asking for, if you have experience with API integrations, I understand you're trying to figure out if I know how to make systems talk to each other, if I know how to connect them, if I know how to integrate these two things, and do. So to answer this main question that you asked, like, did I do the work? I did the work as far as like making the connection and identifying that there was an issue for one set of systems or 2 sets of platforms. And then the other set of platforms, I found out that the work can be done, just not in the allotted time that we have. And then now you guys got to figure that on your own. You can keep me, like extend my contract so we can work through that. Or whenever you decide to do it, you could bring me back or have someone else down the line do it. So that's today's lesson on me learning the technical term API. Oh, I didn't tell y'all the stats. So remember I said at the beginning last year, they did this in 5 weeks and only had 78% completion. With all the stuff that I did and my workaround, in the first week, we had 80% completion. And instead of it being a 5-week project, we did this in 3 weeks with 97% completion. So when I say I'm that girl, I'm that girl.